Hello yogis, and welcome to today's video. So today is actually a fairly similar practice to the one that we did last week. We're working with 12 weeks of the animal kingdom, working with the animal kingdom. Last week we did the crow, and we're going to do the crow again today, but the main posture that we're going to be working with today is the frog or the toad. I'm going to invite you to get 2 blocks or a big cushion, or a block and a cushion, or something nice and high to sit on. I'm actually going to sit, and I'll start there and then I'll turn it around. So we're going to come into this position, and if you're comfortable to cross your legs from here, then we can do that, or you can keep your legs like that. We're going to be coming back to that in a minute. So we're going to begin by just allowing ourselves to settle here. So coming into a nice comfortable seat, closing the eyes or lowering the gaze, breathing in and out through the nose, and arriving in this moment, feeling the breath. Beautiful. So we're going to come back up into this position. It may be that you need to have the knees a bit further away, or their feet a bit further away, if it's too much to sit up like this. We're going to have, last week we had the feet quite close together here. We're going to have them further apart, so as far as you can bring them apart and still be comfortable. We're bringing the hands just inside the legs, but we're going to have the palms facing forwards like this, so you can see already we're a bit froggy. So I'm going to turn it round so that you can see what I look like from here. So, you know, so as I say, you might need to do this, but wherever you are, make sure that you're sitting up straight. So if your legs are like this, but that's making you do this, then take your legs out further forward so that you can be upright. Hands, elbows just inside, feet nice and wide, elbows inside, palms facing forward. We're going to be here for a moment. So this might feel quite intense. Breathing, trying to just be with what is. If it's too much, take your legs further away, give yourself a rest. But it's good to try and stay. Shaking is good. So if you're shaking, that's fine, being with it. Lovely. And then from here we're going to come up into cactus arms. So we've got our elbows same height as the shoulders and out at the same level if you can. And then we're going to take a twist. So opposite hand to knee, the other hand out behind. And once you're looking to the side, breathing in, and then exhaling into the twist. Trying to keep the knees in the same position. Inhaling back out, rising up through the crown, and exhaling back into the twist. Coming back round to cactus arms on this side, and then we're going to go the other way. So opposite hand to knee, other hand out behind. Inhaling, rising up, trying to keep yourself upright if you can, and exhaling into the twist. Inhaling, rising up, and exhaling again into the twist. Beautiful. So coming back to cactus arms for a moment, just being with that for a couple of breaths. Then we're going to take the feet out long along the mat, pushing through the heels and just bringing the hands down inside the knees. And that might feel that that's far enough for you and that you can't go any further, and that's absolutely fine. If you can go a bit further, just dropping the head down, allowing the weight of the head dropping down, maybe walking the hands out a bit further and just being with where you are. That's about as far as I can go. I can feel a stretch along here and very slightly up here. So just breathing here for a couple of breaths. Lovely. So we're going to come back, we're going to come down onto our backs now, so get rid of the blocks for now. Dropping down onto the mat, making sure that I'm in shot. Okay, so we're going to semi-supine, we're coming down into palms facing down, knees hip width apart, and just being here for a moment. And then we're going to start with the right leg. Pick the right leg up with the right hand, so you're grabbing hold of that knee and pulling it towards this armpit, so the same side armpit, and we're going to take the opposite leg out long. So it might be that that knee's bent. If it feels uncomfortable, just come back to having the sole of the foot on the floor. But if you can push through both heels, bringing this knee down towards the armpit, that's good. And then we're going to do what we did last week, but just with one side. So taking hold of the back of that knee, bringing the sole of the foot to the ceiling, and doing the same thing. So but you can use both hands here if it's easier. Bringing that knee towards the armpit, pushing away with the other leg, sole towards the ceiling. Beautiful. So we're just going to swap sides, so coming back to semi-supine, bringing the left knee up towards the armpit here, taking the other leg long along the ground, and just feeling that stretch for a moment there, pushing through both heels. Then we're going to bring the hands up behind this knee, again doing the same thing but trying to take the sole of the foot to the ceiling. That's it. Beautiful. And then we'll just bring the other knee up to join you, so we're in the same position as we were last week, with the soles of the feet towards the ceiling. So this is like a modified happy baby. And then from here we can bring the hands in between the feet, so we become like we were last week, lying on the mat. But then I'm going to invite you to make it more froggy by bringing the arms into cactus arms beside the body. They might touch the ground, they might be floating, that's fine. Again, trying to keep the soles of the feet towards the ground. Beautiful. Lovely. So we're going to come back down, and we're going to bring the soles of the feet together, and we're coming into Supta Baddha Konasana, which means reclined cobbler's pose or something else. So with the soles of the feet together, knees out to the side, hands onto the tummy to begin with. So this is a little bit froggy in itself. And we can make it a bit more froggy by bringing the arms back out to cactus arms here, and having the pads of the palms wide. So this in itself looks and feels a little bit froggy. We could do a couple of rivets, rivet, from here. Beautiful. Lovely. And then from here we're going to roll over to the side, and we're going to come up to all fours. So just finding your comfortable all fours position. If you need to pad the knees, then do so. Inhaling, looking forward. Exhaling, looking between the knees. Doing this a couple of times. And then we're going to begin to go backwards and forwards. So we're going to take the knees very slightly further forward. We're going to drop to the sides, dropping back into the child pose, and then moving forward to wherever feels okay for you, not dumping the hips, but coming into a sort of very high cobra, hanging cobra, dropping back, doing this a couple more times. Inhaling as you come forward, exhaling as you go back. Once more. And you could even do a sigh out on the way back. And then we'll just take a moment here. So you might want to bring your hands underneath your head and just take a couple of big sighs out here if you want to. Lovely. So from here, we're going to then come into our, we've already taken a little bit of weight into the hand, so we're going to do a little bit more of that, sun ray fingers, and we're just going to, from here, we're just going to take one foot out long, stretching through that hamstring, bring the other one to join it, so we're coming into a plank, drop the first one, stretch through that hamstring, and back down. And we can just do it the other way, so you take the first foot up first, then the other one to join it, down with the first foot, knee, saying foot anyway, and lovely. And then from there, we're going to come into a bit more of a froggy child. So we're going to bring the knees out, so taking the knees nice and wide, big toes together, and we're going to drop back, so dropping the bottom as far back onto the knees as it'll go. If this isn't really available to you, you can just still have the knees apart and just come down onto the forearms and just be there and try and just rest down like that. You might need to pad the knees if it feels uncomfortable. So dropping down, this is really opening the groin a little bit here, so just trying to breathe here and being with what is. If it's not comfortable with your head, you can have your head on a block here. Breathing here, beautiful. Couple of times, lovely. So from here, we're going to take a lunge. So what we're going to do is I'm going to pad my knees with one of these blocks here. Is we're going to step 1 foot forward into a lunge. Okay, so we've got that foot nice and as far forward as you can make it, so that you're really opening this back hip. It may be that you can't go very far with that, so just taking it where you can go, and we're just going to take a little lunge forward, making sure that your knee doesn't go in front of your ankle here. And then from here, I'm going to have my back to you to begin with, sorry. I'm going to take opposite hand to knee down. And what we're going to do is we're going to push this knee out to the side. You can't see it so well this side, but you will on the other side. So just push the knee out to the side and look behind you. So you're kind of rolling onto the outside edge of that foot. And looking out beside you, opening that hip up. And then we're going to come back to the centre, both hands either side of that foot, and we're going to come back into the half splits. So just doing what you can. You can't see what I'm doing, sorry, you will see it on the other side. From here I've got my toes down to begin with, and then I'm going to come up, raising my toes towards me. Lovely. And then bringing that foot back, we're going to do it on the other side. So you should be able to see this a bit better this side. So from here, taking a big step forward wherever it is that is comfortable to you. So I'm getting a little bit more flexible here. It may be that you need to be here. So just doing what's right for you. And you're just going to dropping the weight down. So you're just dropping the weight down, really opening up this back hip here. And then we're going to take opposite hand to leg, pushing this knee away. So I'm rolling onto the outside edge of this foot and looking behind me. A couple of breaths here. Beautiful. And then from here, both hands either side of that foot, coming back into half, so just moving the body back, straightening this front leg. It might not straighten, just going to where it goes, and then rolling on that heel, bringing however far these toes come towards you, and this will be more of a stretch on the hamstring. Lovely. So from here, I'm going to turn around here actually. From here we're going to come and do a little pigeon. So from here we're going to bring, just a short one, bringing the right knee forwards so it meets this hand here. If that foot can come across over a little bit, then that's fine. If not, just keep it in the middle there. Doesn't really matter. And then what we're going to do is we're going to, with this foot, we're going to walk ourselves backwards as far as we can go, taking the top of that foot down. And then I'm going to just raise up, so onto my fingertips, raising up, just seeing where I can come to. It might be that you're like this, and that's fine. But just wherever your edge is, don't push it too hard. And from here, so I'm making sure I'm not dropping over to one side, making sure I'm nice and upright here, and breathing here. And then when I'm ready, I'm going to take my hands forward. You can either just come down onto the elbows or even just onto the hands, if that feels enough. If elbows is good, then being there, or you might want to have a block underneath your head, or it might be that you can even come all the way down. So making sure you're nice and straight here, so you're not dropping over to one side or the other. And this is just really beautiful for these hips that we need to open out to get into the frog. Beautiful. So you can always stop the video and spend a bit longer there if you want to, but we'll just come back and do it on the other side. So on my left side, I have to be a lot more careful because I've got a bit of a dodgy knee. So my foot only comes over to about here. Again, walking myself backwards, making sure, just make absolutely sure that everything's going to feel okay in your knee and your hips and everything. Don't do anything that doesn't feel okay. And rising up, just feeling yourself rising through the crown chakra, and then dropping down to wherever it is you go. And again, making sure you're nice and straight, no flopping over to the side, making sure your pelvis is straight up. And a couple of breaths here. Beautiful. Lovely. So now we're going to move on to doing a little bit of gate pose. So have a block under your knee, or a cushion under your knee, because you're going to have a lot of weight on this knee. So we're going to come up kneeling on this knee this side, and we're going to take the other knee out, the other leg out long ways on the mat like this. And some people can have their foot facing straight forward. Mine looks straight forward, but it's not actually. Making sure that you've got as much of the sole of the foot on the ground as you can. So if you end up with your foot like that, that's better than having it over like that. The idea is that, because this, if you have it over there, you're sort of cheating, really. So trying to get the sole of the foot onto the ground, and trying to, it might be that you feel like you're a bit like that because it feels a bit intense. That's fine. Just being where you can be. Sole of the foot down, hand gently onto this knee, and we're just going to try and raise this hand up. Now it might not go very far, it might only go to there. So just seeing where your hand goes to, and it might be that this feels really like it's absolutely enough, and if it is, just stay here and breathe. If you feel like you could just take a little bit of a side bend from here, so I actually feel this more here than I do here. In fact, I feel a sort of crunching here. Different people feel it in different places. I'm not feeling it so much there anymore as I used to, but it is meant to be. It's kind of opening here, opening here. Lovely. So breathing here, maybe taking a little bit of a look up or behind there under the armpit, and then we're going to come down and swap over legs. So take your pad to under the other leg and then step out with this. So the back foot, by the way, the back toes, you can't see, but the back toes are tucked here to give you a bit of stability. And this foot should be about at the same level as the knee. And you'll find almost certainly that one side is going to be more, I'm going the wrong way. So I thought that felt a bit easy. So this way, yeah, this hand on here, and yeah, you'll almost certainly find that one side will be easier or hard or just very different to the other one. Have a little bit of a look under the armpit. Lovely. So we're now going to come down into some of our froggy positions. So we can start, I think I'm actually going to turn my mat around here so that I've got it underneath me a bit more. So you could do that as well, or you could just turn yourself around, but I want to make sure that you can see what I'm doing. So from here, I'm coming onto the mat, and I'm going to do a very wide child's pose. So we're going to take our knees as wide as we comfortably can, big toes together, and from here, taking the hands out in front of it, I'm just going to sit myself. We were doing this earlier, but I've taken the knees quite a bit further. So this could be quite intense. So if it's too intense, just bring the knees a bit closer together. Just make sure that you come to a comfortable place. And then again, from here, if going back, by the way, if bending the knees is not possible for you, I know that there's a couple of you that find that difficult, then just being up on the legs like this and just having being on the elbows here is absolutely fine. And you know, and you might just want to push your knees out a bit further to get a bit more of a stretch. Anyway, but if you're fine with your knees, then just dropping your bum back onto your heels, either being, as I say, on the elbows, or if you feel that you want to go a bit further, you can put your hands one on top of the other, bring the forehead down, or even bring the head down onto the mat. And then we're going to come out into our froggy, so having the fingers wide, elbows about at the same place as the shoulders, and we're down here. We can do a couple of rivets. Rivet, 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 rivet. So this is a sort of froggy pose from here. And from here, what you can do is you can walk your hands, yourself a bit further forwards, and you can sort of rock. So you can come forwards and then come back, keeping the head down even. So we're doing a bit of a rocky frog here. Okay. So that's one froggy pose. Another one, which is a bit more intense, and it might be that you don't want to even try it. It's the same thing, but it's having the feet out like this. Now, my legs and ankles don't really do much here, so that's about the most that I can do. And then, so from here, if I try and go back from here, I mean, I can't, you know. I go to there, and I can really feel it here. But some people will have completely different bodies to me. So if from here you feel like you can take the body back at all, then do so. And what we can do is from here is to come onto the elbows again. So this is like and then from here you can see if you can just roll, what's the word, not roll, just spread the knees out a little bit further. And so this is very froggy as well, sunray fingers to give you the froggy pads. And again, from here, just rocking backwards and forwards. I can't go very far from here at all. I can really feel it in my sort of groin area here. Very much. Lovely. Okay, so you can spend a bit more time. I'm wow, 24 minutes. So this is going to be a much longer video. So today we're going to do just a very slight little bit more of the crow that we did last week, because I want to do a bit of it every day. So from here, having your block like we did last week, and you're going to come and stand up onto the block and then come down into a squat. So I'm up on my toes. Some people might be able to have their heels down. And then from here we're just going to take hands down to the ground right in front of you, so not too far ahead, having them right underneath you here. And then from here you can kind of lift your bottom up and then see if you can take your, I mean some people, as I say, like to do the crow like this with the knees on the back of the elbows, and then try to lift the feet like that. You can do it like that, or you can do it the way I do it, which is to have my knees outside. I just feel like it's not quite so intense. I'm not taking any weight off at the moment, I'm just taking weight into my hands. Looking sort of forward-ish and imagining yourself. It's almost like a frog about to jump as well, isn't it? So it's a crow and a frog, or rather a wren. We were working with the wren last week. So there we go. Make sure that you come down when the video finishes, come down onto the mat, do a couple of supine twists or other counter poses, maybe do a bridge pose or something. I'll do one once I've turned off the video, just to make sure, and then take at least a minute, maybe 2 minutes in Shavasana before you finish, because that pose particularly is the most important pose of the whole practice, as we know. So anyway, thank you very much for working with me. If you are, as I always say, if you want to make a donation, if you're not coming to my lessons, then I will put information about that on to the email. All right, lots of love to you all. Bye.